181 of Tuesday 20th July 2021, in case 100 Suna Uliaji, case 290 Marie-Thérèse Wilmot and Bernard Bonta, case 294 Georges Jumai, case 296 Tony Maillet, case 451 Etienne Nabish, and case 299 Philippe Joseph Edouard.
Thank you. Before we call the first witness, I'd just like to address the issue of closed session hearings. When a person appearing before the Commission requests a closed session hearing, that request will usually be granted by the Commission, basically because of the conduct of certain persons on social media who seem to enjoy denigrating people that appear publicly before this Commission. The use of social media to make disparaging comments about persons appearing before the Commission undermines the Commission's objective of achieving reconciliation and also causes considerable distress to the target of the negative commentary. The Commission objects in the strongest possible terms to abuse of people through social media, and to demonstrate its opposition, it will grant closed session when requested, other than in exceptional circumstances. That said, the Commission does appreciate the frustration felt by the general public when a grant of closed session is made upon the appearance of a person contrary to the Commission's schedule of hearings that had indicated an open session for that person's evidence. To alleviate that frustration, the Commission asks those persons scheduled to appear that wish to do so in closed session to inform the Commission as soon as they receive notification that they have been scheduled. The Commission would like to reiterate that showing respect for persons who appear before the Commission in public session might encourage more persons to be willing to do so. Thank you. Can you please call the next witness?
Mr. Pavez Udwadja.
Thank you, Mr. Udiwadi. Nice to see you again. Thank you for coming again. So the Commission has called you because after it heard your evidence in your case, case 25, it obtained a document from the archives of the United Kingdom, which was purportedly obtained by the British High Commissioner to Seychelles at the time, Mr. John Poo, who basically had sent this document as a report to the officials in London, telling them that he'd received a document from the Commissioner of Police, which was put before the Detention Review Tribunal, which talked about why you had been detained. And the document basically claimed that an investigation had revealed that Mr. Joubert, Mr. Mancam, and Mr. Uzis had been planning a mercenary attack, and they'd received over 2 million rupees from a highly influential Arab, and that you were one of the persons involved in that coup, and that you were engaged in supplying information to Joubert and Mancam, and you were arranging for small boats to be made available, if required, for the transportation of mercenaries from the outer islands to Mahe, and that you were actively involved in making arrangements for arms to be smuggled into Seychelles. So we wanted to hear what you have to say about this allegation that was made. Yeah, okay. Thank you.
Okay. Bon après-midi, commissionnaire, avec les membres. Premier, c'est tout faux. Premièrement, pour nous autres, Les on s'y retourne Seychelles en 2002. On a la Coast Guard centrale pour demander report le mois. Et je te donne un certificat to whom it may concern. This is to certify that nothing detrimental is known against Parvez Udwadia from the criminal and traffic records of the Seychelles Police Force. And I will present this. On donne ça avec vous, s'il vous plaît. Okay. Oui, mon chana, 25 petits bateaux, le mon fishing fleet, C4. Ils ont la pêche dehors, Providence.
Monsieur Pavez, j'espère que je comprends bien. Si vous avancer un petit peu plus avec micro, pour me comprendre bien. Avancer un petit peu plus avec micro, pour me comprendre bien.
OK. Oui, moi, j'en ai 25 petits bateaux, ça loupe, qui nous mettent un gros bateau pour nous à la pêche, Providence, les îles. Ça, tu n'as pas rien pour faire avec mon cours qui vont gagner à l'aide. Je tu viens avec moi. Je sais, tu dis, moi, commissionnaire, il est à moi. Comment on arrive à un bureau. Et s'il dit que ça, la police, il dit, prends-le, emmène-le là-haut, Unionville, c'est tout. Et jamais encore une dit, moi, qui existe dans moi un papier, comme quoi, I have been charged for treason. C'est tout que tu en as. Et nous sommes restés en détention pour 3 mois.
So they never spoke to you about this alleged coup?
No,
that-
no, madame, no.
I mean, in the newspapers, we also saw that in the newspapers at the time, I think Weekend Life was closely following the story and poking lots of holes in it, I have to say. But they were interviewing Albert Rene and the Minister of Defence at the time, and they were saying, yes, yes, this is why they're detained, and that basically by keeping you in prison for 3 months, they had broken your relationship with the other people, right? So that you were no longer going to be able to carry out your plot. I mean, why didn't they? Because none of the people that were detained recall at all ever having this plot put to them and told that they were carrying out these activities. It's in the paper. There's diplomatic cables being sent from the US and the UK all about it, but you people were never told.
It was because il n'est pas si vrai, toi, là, c'est tout. Si c'est vrai, il t'admet nous en cours, ça t'admet laissé la cause, non? Parce que là, il a là, tu dois mettre moi le home detention. Et après, dans 6-7 jours, on s'est quitté, on s'est allé Maurice.
So, do you think they made this story up for the outside world? Because people were looking, what is happening to these people? Why are they detained? I mean, the embassies that were in Seychelles were asking questions. They were looking at things from a human rights perspective and what's happening in this country. So do you think it was just a fabrication to satisfy?
Définitivement.
Yeah.
Parce que lui-même, il a fait coup d'État. Il s'est dit, pas lui qui le fait, ben du monde qui le fait, et puis il demande lui pour venir comme président. So, pour dire lui-même, il fait fabriquer.
I mean, the Americans did some investigation in Kenya where there was meant to be the boat going to bring the mercenaries. And they looked at this boat and they found out that it was registered to a lady in Nairobi, not to the Seychelles, like they'd said in their reports. and that it wasn't seaworthy, and that it had been used for a period of 2 weeks as a floating brothel, but it wasn't very successful.
But the day of the coup, that they were supposed when we were arrested, put in detention, c'est un coup qui se peut prendre en place dans Comores. Peut-être une grande information, petit coup qui est arrivé, c'est celle, mais pas pour Seychelles, c'est pour Comores.
Ça où? Ou tu connais pour dire que tu perds dans sa cour?
Non, 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 les nous sommes dedans.
Après que c'est notre-
Après des 3 jours, les nouvelles sont sorties. Là, qui nous entendaient. Nous, nous pas de connaissons rien pour dire dans cours, anything. Moi, je suis gagné amassé. Oui, mon ban l'équipage, bateau, petit ban grec. Petit fait, sont 2 jours avant, petit lagué dans mon bar. Et bon, tu besoin alcool garde pour faire release autres, largues autres pour tout le bateau. Et ça, vendredi soir aussi, mêmes affaires, les dit mon commissionnaire, il est voir moi. On dit peut-être ça bonne l'équipage, il fait quelques problèmes encore. C'est tout qui bon ça. Bon, parce qu'on n'a rien pour dire qu'elle gagne à marcher.
Les temps où tu tous ensemble, prison, Unionville, je parle cause un peu là, à cause.
Mais personne ne connaît. Il y en a un mot qui sont religieux, par exemple, M. défunt Pascal Larry, même Zolier, ex-warden
Monsieur Wao.
prison, M. Félix Waro. Lui aussi, il dit qui raisonne à masse, nous. Personne ne connaît qui raison. Et puis, à soir, plus tard, 11h, même là, M. défunt Dan Payet et Dauphin, sorti par les autres aujourd'hui. Qui n'arrivait, personne, nous, tout nous pas connaît.
Sorry, I didn't understand. Why were your crew members fighting?
This is we had the boat that was here. It was a Greek fishing boat. And the crew on board, they were all Greek. So when they come ashore, go in bars and, fights happen or something like that.
When you went to Mauritius 7 days after you were released, so you never heard about these stories in the paper? In the
No,
Weekend Life?
jamais, jamais.
No.
Et tiens, jour, monsieur, ils ont dans mon papier ici, là, même là, ils ont saisi, m'ont dit, oui, mon Dieu, on a 25 saloupes, là, mon gros bateau. Mais pas pour ça, un bateau, on a 125 pêcheurs et 50 caliers. Calier, ça veut dire une maman qui nettoie les poissons. Calier. Et tout ça, bon poisson, là, attrapé, dehors même là-bas, nettoyé, empaqueté, freeze, blast freeze, et puis, nous envoyé la graisse.
When you made your asylum application in the US, you told them about the accusation that had been made against you.
Well, what happened when I was in Maurice, monsieur défait Mancam, tu fais nous ça, bon, tu montes Maurice, par exemple, Maurice aussi, tu peux gagner un problème politique. Et monsieur Sir Harold Walter, qui a fait appel loin après 6-7 mois, il dit, moi, pour dire problème, puis commencer ici. Et si parti MMM, il vient au pouvoir, il risquait de faire les autres retourner ou something. Là, il m'a allé mon petit téléphone, Jim Mancam, l'Angleterre. Il dit, pas tracasser. Moi, fait les autres gagner un visa pour monter l'Amérique. So this was American Embassy, stampé, and straight I went through London to USA.
Because in your proceedings to get asylum in the US, I think your lawyer told them that you couldn't go back to Seychelles because you'd been accused.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oui, parce que moi, j'ai demandé late sortie côté Jim that I was an active member of the Democratic Party and I was picked up. C'est pourquoi.
Were you an active member? Ou tu es membre?
Là, on nous dit active member. Pas active member pour faire pour something. On dit active member pour élection. Parce qu'on travaille avec, chez Philippe. Et Philippe Jumotier m'a électé pour Rousseau avec Gonzague Dauphin. So oui, mon petit travail pour faire ça, monter, descendre, ça, comme ça, pas active member, pas le médifé, ou par exemple, tu peux faire longtemps. Okay.
What's the name of the Mauritian gentleman who told you about possible trouble?
Sorry?
Sir Harold.
Sir Harold Walter. Il était ministre des Foreign Affairs à l'époque.
So no counter-coup activities for you then?
Sorry?
So you weren't involved in any counter-coup activities? No.
Because even Jim was not interested in it. He said, Lisa, I don't want blood on my hands, so, and don't stay in England. Rather go ahead, you'll be better off. And moi, tu n'as pas aucune famille aussi l'Amérique, seulement. I decided, I said, okay, let me try a new world.
Est-ce que tu en as juste une fois qu'il y en a ça l'a foyer court ou bien quelque chose qui t'a tu remonté?
Quoi ça?
Est-ce que tu y en as juste une occasion que tu dis qu'il y en a un complot pour faire un coup ou bien qui ça tu de temps en temps fait remonter un autre groupe du monde qui a arrêté?
Non, moi, j'ai arrivé ça en 78. Ils m'ont quitté bail, moi.
Oui.
Après 3 mois. Et ils m'ont allé à l'Amérique. L'Amérique, pas qu'il y a bon contact, mais qui peut être l'Angleterre, par exemple, il y a bon des fins Gérard, d'autres groupes.
Un groupe, il prend un pouvoir par la force, par un coup d'État, ou expecter qu'il prend le groupe d'un côté de l'opposition qui peut objecter et qui peut essayer sans quelque chose.
Mon parole, il y a madame Pavis. Moi, on a l'Amérique.
Oui, oui.
Et là, l'Amérique, il mile, c'est que ça.
Non, mon père,
Et longtemps, tu n'as pas ça
oui.
téléphone, avec ça pour contact. So,
Contact.
c'est un New World pour moi là-bas.
Non, mais mon père dit, ça groupe qui va mettre dans la prison ensemble.
En surtout, mais personne pas s'involve là-dedans. Ça, oui.
Comme si entre les autres, aucun plan.
Non, entre nous, on n'a pas de rien. Oui, de type populaire, on a 125 PC, là, on a 125 P50 caliers. Ça veut dire on a chemaillé avec vous. Sur les mettre Wanda. Tout le monde finit qu'on est.
Oui.
Pauline gagne amassé, fait coup d'État. Bon? Mais si a dit Madame Purvis, il gagne amassé, personne ne peut connaître l'État. Ce type, pareil, de faire Robert Frichot, c'est un grand avocat, tout ça. Lui aussi amasse lui. Les fins Zolier, les autres mêmes affaires.
Il est passé une espèce de tribunal qui ont été set up après pour soi-disant regarder dans sa bonne cas.
Un tribunal.
Oui, en 78.
Moi, tu finis à aller, moi.
Non, pendant qu'ils ont été dans la prison.
Pendant nous, tu n'as pris
Oui, oui. Encore dans sa bonne rapport, nous ne voit.
un tribunal.
Oui, c'est un tribunal.
Et ça veut dire,
79, pas si vrai?
78, il y en a 20, nous.
Oui,
Tu n'as pas ça.
21. OK.
Il y en a nous, nous, un côté, et puis tu en as bonne madame, l'autre côté, ça. C'est tout. Ça, tout ça, là, est pris, qui est arrivé, qui va commencer à masser du monde. Nous, les essayé. Pareil, la première fois, tu as massé, nous.
En November 79, sign
Le
la.
tribunal?
Moi, 78.
79.
78, OK.
79, sign la part la le 17 novembre 79.
Oui, bon, moi, tu as massé en 78.
The first lot of arrests, it wasn't 79.
Non.
Oui, oui.
The document we have is for 1978, and it was a document that was supposedly submitted, yes, no, to the Detention Review Tribunal.
Yes, there was a detention
Yes,
review
the
tribunal
president
that
set
was
it up. Yes, he set it up.
Oui, oui. No, no. And
There was a review tribunal.
Yeah, on 19th of May, the Commission obtained the Detention Review Tribunal decree of 19th of May 1978. It provided that there would be a tribunal called the Detention Review Tribunal. So it was in 1978,
yes.
and that's what Mr. Rene said he was doing. He'd set up that tribunal
Yep.
for these people, and they were represented by two lawyers during the time.
yeah, Mr. Valabji and an Englishman. One
Yeah,
was
an
Mr.
English lawyer
Valabji.
and another lawyer. And the document that we have was the document that was supposedly submitted to the Detention Review Tribunal to justify the detention of these. Sorry, he's knocking. My
I know
microphone.
nothing of that.
Yes,
Parce que moi, tu finis à aller.
yeah, yeah.
You were charged with sedition,
I was charged with treason.
treason.
Yes.
Did you go to court on a
No,
charge?
no, nothing. It was just a paper that he gave signed by Brady.
You were detained with the other people, the other 20 or so people, right?
Oui.
So on 29th of April, 1979, I think
Seven.
you were detained. 78, sorry, 29th of
78,
April,
no.
1978. And that detention review tribunal was established in May. And I think that was to satisfy concerns about why were these people being detained, right? Because the international community was looking at what the human rights situation would be in Seychelles following the coup. And at first, I have to say, you know, they thought it would be good. They said that Mr. Rene was a humanist and that they didn't think there'd be problems with human rights in the country.
No, but I know nothing of that. Means once I left, nothing was, nobody contacted me or anything. Tell me there's a,
I mean, all the people that we've been able to contact that were detained at the same time as you say that they were never told why they were detained, they were never told about a counter coup, and they were never brought before a detention review tribunal.
I know nothing.
Yeah, you know nothing either. I mean, You know, it's important for us, given these, you know, the documentary record, to hear from the people, you know, whether or not, because it goes to whether or not, you know, there was any due process accorded to you at all, you know, and it appears that there was the veneer of something that wasn't actually implemented.
Yeah,
And
like mine,
yeah.
maybe to get a good pic, joli porte, vous dites là, you know, 25 bateaux. So il promène mercenaires.
To be honest, as a made-up plot, it's very creative. You know, they gave all these different roles to all the people, right? So, well, the archives do throw up some interesting documents for us, and it's good that you're here and can provide us with some evidence in relation to them. So we're grateful to you for that. Does anyone have further questions? No, you know nothing. But we really appreciate, because it's important for your determination, but also for our context evidence for the report. It's clear that the government, once they took power, expected it to be taken away. So they were always alert to that. And we do have evidence that there was, from the outset, you know, a plan that somehow this had to happen. And at 1981, there was the attempt that failed. And then after that, we know there was another attempt in 1986 that never got off the ground either. But it's good to know that this one, nobody verifies that it. And to be honest, the Americans looked into it and said it's paranoia, right? So they have fairly good intelligence. So I think we're sort of satisfied. But thank you very much. So unless you have anything you would like to add, yep.
Et l'autre point, on lui fait qu'on est, mais tu mentionnais, Albert Renetti prend nous le cimetière, la famille, que de bonne ministre enterré. Mais des mois passés, finalement, le gouvernement, il donne nous l'autre bout et il transfère nous non tout. Et il me donne papier avec Madame Véronique, ton officer. Okay? Yes.
I'm really glad to hear that's been done.
After
Yes,
long,
I know. We did discuss that this morning with Mr. Leblash in Mrs. Uliagi's case.
Yeah.
And we noted how long it took. But maybe things will finally begin to move, right? So that's a sign, good sign, right? So let's hope we keep going in that direction. But that's good. I'm glad that's happened.
So that was 2 months ago.
Pardon?
You said des mois passés? 2
Oui.
months ago. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, it had a long history. Apparently it was yours, but you never had the title for since 1995, I believe.
Yes.
And then there was a little bit of encroachment during that period because you didn't have the title, even though you owned it. So we're very glad that's been settled. It's one less thing we have to worry about, because we were worried about it. We worry about everything here, right? Yeah, so that's great. So thank you very much for sharing that. We have no further questions. We're very grateful to you coming and clarifying that. Mr. Green, would you like to say in Creole about the social media? Okay. All right. We will adjourn. We will be in closed session tomorrow. We anticipate being in open session at 3 o'clock. Thank you.
All rise.
Thank you.